Yes, that's why he makes the Battle Rider, but apart from that, it's not really that useful. Sorry. Now 3 wyverns. No, 2. Yeah, 2 wyverns. He lost that one. I didn't pay attention. And actually, nilknarf is trying to push the base a bit with his militia. And that is why Rabbit is not trying to fight him. I mean, he's not fighting him right now because he waited for the militia timer to go down and for nilknarf to advance into the burrow range. And right now, speed scroll and take out a few casters with the wyverns. That works pretty well. But of course, the Bat Rider is not that useful at this stage, and it goes down very, very quickly. So check out the very nice positioning of the wyverns just over the trees, and so he's able to evade the Quill Beast and the Water Elemental, because those two are actually the major damage source against the wyverns from the human player at this stage. I don't know what Rabbit... Oh yeah, Rabbit is just gonna try and get his weak grunts out. But yeah, they're still slowed. His Farseer was slowed, and so he teeps away in order to save 2 grunts and possibly the Farseer. That is a very good call at this stage of the game, because the 2 grunts would have made a big difference, and he probably could have lost his Farseer if he would still have had slow on him, so that was a pretty good call. And yeah, since he had to TP, what does the human player do? I mean, what human players do? It's just come in again with militia and try to tower rush. The wyverns again try to put them somewhere where they're away from his ranged heroes and where they're not so easily focus fireable by the by the summons, and he's doing a pretty good job with them. After all those wyverns, actually don't overdo it and get some raiders with ensnare, and because if you have too many wyverns, you're just going to be way too vulnerable to masked riflemen or even Dragonhawk riders. So you have to mix it up, because the best counter for riflemen is actually Grunt Raider, and the best counter for casters is wyverns. But if you just make wyverns, you won't be able to counter the rifleman. So he lost again 2 wyverns, I think, in this fight, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, he didn't do too badly. And yeah, nilknarf had to TP out there because he was getting blocked. And so right now, with all this wyvern focus fire, he was able to take down the casters pretty easily, and with the grunts and raiders, he was able to take down the riflemen. I'm not exactly sure how many riflemen that nilknarf had. I think he had 2, but they all went down. And at this stage of the game, I mean, Rabbit has a pretty good advantage. It's 48 food against 37, and even though there's lots of summons, he can take this fight much easier. Using the speed scroll in order to get into position into the battle is usually pretty good. In this case, it was a bit over the top, because it wasn't really necessary, and he could have used the speed scroll a bit later in order to get his wyverns a bit better around. But yeah, I mean, the good focus fire there from Rabbit, it just took down the casters, and this nice surround on the Archmage just got him the kill and the GG. So, I think I'm actually gonna do another replay after this one because it's kind of short and I didn't have that much to say about this one. So I'm just gonna pause the recording for a bit and look for another replay, and I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So I found another replay, and it's actually the first game in the series between Rabbit and nilknarf. It's actually a pretty nice, interesting replay too, even though it's a bit more one-sided than the other one. So get it paused at the 1 minute mark as well, and I'm going to talk a bit about the map. It's on Terenas Stand, and here usually what happens is that everybody fast creeps their goblin laboratory, and then the green camp gets level 2, and from there usually the human creeps the shop, or the other green camp maybe goes to expand, and the orc player usually, sometimes he does the same creep pattern as the human and tries to get to level 3 before tier 2, or he will attack and try to take down any fast expansion that's trying to build. Right. So, what Rabbit does is a bit different, because you have seen in game 1 that he played very aggressively. Even more aggressively than usual, because he was actually the one who took down the orange creep next to nilknarf's base, and usually, it's like you see that very, very rarely. So, I hope you guys are at the 1 minute mark. If not, please pause the audio, and we're gonna get started quite soon. So, let's unpause in 3, 2, 1, go. First of all, you see the building placement by Rabbit. He's placing his barracks and his altar storms on the top, so that if the human player comes in with a tower rush, he will have some protection for his altar and for his burrows, because the barracks has 1,200 hit points, can be relatively easily repaired, and so it's a pretty good building placement. Other people usually tend to put the altar at the bottom and the barracks a bit further out, but this one works too. The only small gripe I have with his build is that he blocks the pathway between his altar and his burrow, so he won't be able to take in units between his barracks and his main and just put him to the back of his base. So maybe put the first burrow like 1 square down. That would actually help, but well.